So I broke my neck in 2000, and at that point I'd probably had zero contact with people in wheelchairs. Didn't really think about it, you know, just went about my daily life, so it wasn't really in my mind. But when I broke my neck, I suffered a spinal cord injury, and I was taken to hospital, and I was in hospital for about a year, and that's when they told me that I'd never walk again. So it was, you know, it was a really, really difficult time. A lot of support from friends and family to get through it.
Yeah.
But one of the key catalysts to get me better was sport. While you're in rehab in hospital, they try and get you active and get you moving again. So, you know, one of the first sports I tried was like table tennis, you know, which is a bit of fun.
Yeah.
It's all right, as you do. And yeah, and that's when I met Bob. You know, he came up one day into the spinal unit and said, "Do you want to try wheelchair rugby?"
What did you think then?
Well, seriously, you're in there that long, people wind you up. It's a bit of a laugh at times, so you never know if you've been wound up or not. Straight away I thought, rugby, right, played on grass, wheelchairs, this is a joke, definitely. So I never really took him seriously. But and I said no straight away. He came back next weekend, "Do you want to try wheelchair rugby?" A few of the guys were going down to the hall to have a look at it again. So I thought, you know what, let's have a look. So we walked down to the sports hall, and it was literally half a sports court. It was really small. And as we opened this door, this guy came whooshing by in his chair. And I was just like, "What's going on here? You know, this is not supposed to be happening." And he goes smashing into another guy. And I was like, "Whoa!" So straight away, it sort of like got my attention, and I watched it for a bit and said, "Do you want to jump in the chair?" And got into a chair, and I didn't want to get out. I kind of forgot I was in a wheelchair. I was having so much fun. It was the summer of the Paralympics, and that's where Bob was taking the team out, because he was the captain of the GB team, going out to the Sydney Paralympics. So I got to like meet him, learn from him, and then I watched him on TV for a bit. You know, it was like a 30-second clip back in those days. But yeah, when I was coming out of hospital, he kind of said, "You know, I think you'd be really good at this sport. If you want to get involved, you know, here's the number for your local team." And he gave me a number for the team, and I went out and put it in a drawer and forgot about it for a bit.
Didn't feel real.
Well, the thing is, I kind of got back out, and you sort of adjust to the real world. And I was like 3/4 way through my education, so I went back to finish my agency off in mechanical design at the time. I was studying engineering. I thought, you know, it'd be a waste not to finish it off. And as soon as I'd done that, and you have this sort of reality point where when you first come out, all your friends and family are around you, so it's like really busy. But then slightly people start to get back to their own lives, go off to university, and you think to yourself, well, you know, what am I doing with myself now?
Sinks in, yeah.
Well, that's when I was tidying up in a room and came across this number, wheelchair rugby, and all these sort of memories came flooding back, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a call and see what happens. I think my breakthrough came in 2005, but it was before then. The guys were training for Athens, and I used to train with them, and it was like, I wanted to go to the Paralympics. I'd set that goal to myself, so I decided to train with them. They had programs, and I started to run on their programs, and it wasn't just being there training with them, it was what it was doing to my quality of life. So the more I trained, the stronger I got, the more confident I got, and I really started to feel like this was the way to go forward for myself. And then once I broke into the team, you know, playing for Great Britain, having that flag on your chest is like the biggest thing in the
really
world.
Proud, yeah.
So yeah, and that was it. That was the target. You know, and you kind of like chasing medals, and every 4 years the cycle comes, and it's like, you know, can I make it to the next games, and how good can I get? How good can we be as a team? That really sort of fueled everything.
Get a bit addicted to it, I guess, don't
It
you?
is. You know what it is? When you're an elite athlete, it's a very selfish life, because it's all about performance. So everything you eat, everything you do, you miss birthday parties, weddings, but it's a total focus. Because for me, it was like, if I don't turn up to training, or if I miss a session, you know, I'm not just letting myself down. It's letting my teammates down. And always I have it in the back of my mind that, like, you know, somebody else somewhere in the world is, you know, training for the spot as well. You know, trying to get into that medal spot. So you know, kind of felt
fight to keep there,
yeah. Yeah, I think there was a bit of a natural moment. My last Paralympic Games was Rio 2016, and I knew as an athlete, you know, the time's come to hang your gloves up, because, you know, you're getting older, your shoulders are hurting and taking longer to recover. But it was a day before our first game in Rio, when my wife FaceTimed me, and I remember clearly, I was on the 19th floor of our building in the village, and like, you're overlooking the mountains, and you got the Paralympic village underneath you, and she's like, "I've got some news for you." And I was like, "Well, what? She's going to be a dad. And that was it. It's just, you know, to be at a games was, you know, super exciting anyway, but to get that news, it just, you know, it was absolutely amazing. But it made my retirement a lot easier, having a focus, you know, such a big focus outside of sport. Because I think so many people do struggle when they come out of elite sport, you know, what career path they're going to take and where they're going to go. So for me, it was a huge moment. For me, there was nothing local. There was no club local. The closest team that formed, I think about 3 or 4 years ago, was Leicester. But I used to have to travel to London to go play. So when I retired, I thought, you know what, I can't keep going to London. It's a bit too far. And I just thought about people around in the area. There's nothing here for people to take up the sport. And you know, it's kind of like you want the rugby clubs to take charge, because that's the natural progression now. Every sort of big club has now got a wheelchair rugby club as well. So when Coventry put the idea forward and had some taster sessions and asked me to come along to coach a few sessions, I was like, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I was a bit apprehensive at first. I don't know what sort of coach I'd be or how I'd go, but what I found with new clubs that are coming up without proper coaching, they're not really progressing. So for me to live in the area and not to try and help out would be, you know, be criminal. So I thought, you know, let's give it a go, see how things go with it, and see what I can teach them. So I'm basically taking principles that I've learned, you know, coaching styles that I've learned over the years, and I think it's putting a bit of your personality into it.
Yeah.
So and just connecting with people. But yeah, I think the guys think I'm all right. They're not. Yeah. Yeah, I think we're doing all right. So yeah, it's been a good year. We run taster sessions with GBWR, which is great wheelchair rugby. They organise taster sessions at the Excel Leisure Centre with CB Life and Coventry Rugby. So they put the sessions together, asked me to lead them, and we just put out blanket emails and canvassed my posters everywhere to see what interest there was. And I think I had about 12 people turn up the first time, which was very surprising, because normally they get like 4 or 5 people turn up, which showed us clearly there was a market for the sport, and people wanted to play the sport, and there was nothing for them to do in the area. So straight away there was a team to work with, or people to work with to turn into a team. So yeah, it was pretty. I think some of the best coaches I've played for have always made their team sort of player led. So we do all the learning in training, but ultimately when the whistle is blown and they're playing, you know, they have to make the decisions, because we don't get enough timeouts, or there's not enough time in between plays for me to change things. So I kind of set the principles in training and for a game, and then tweak things along. So I massively rely on the guys to input. So we teach people things and then ask them to teach others, you know, and pass the knowledge on. But I think. Yeah, I think it works.
Yeah.
We're doing all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we came joint third overall, and I, you know, was pleasantly surprised, to be honest, because the guys have been playing, you know, less than sort of 7 months when they went into the tournament, and some of the teams have been there for 2-3 years established. So you know, it was credit to them, because they've worked really hard for that. It's huge, man. This sport, you don't realise, but it's really expensive to play. I think being a disability sport, companies decide to charge the earth for wheelchairs and you know, access and stuff. It's crazy. So one of the chairs is like $4,500 to buy a chair. So you know, each chair is bespoke to each player, and it's a big outlay for somebody to try the sport and come into the sport brand new. So you know, having the support of Coventry Rugby to put the thing together and sponsors like RML to sponsors for kit makes it look professional, and you know, to help us get more sponsors. You know, it's key for the sport to grow in Coventry. For me, one of the dreams is to get somebody to a Paralympic Games. You know, if I get one of my athletes to a Games, it'd be amazing. So that's the long-term goal for me. But we'll try and make our club as successful as possible. Yeah, so I work with CB Life as well. I'm the Disability Sports Development Officer.
Okay.
So we work with primary schools, trying to get more inclusive sports into schools. So I think a big part of why I work in my industry is because of what sport's given to me, the opportunities it gave me, and I think it's a huge impact on people's daily lives. The power of sport is massive, you know, from gaining confidence to strength and to giving, you know, principles in life, and the values it creates. So for me to try and create more opportunities for kids to get into the sport is, you know, it's really satisfying. I think just, well, it's hard, but one of the biggest ones is London 2012. To have been a Paralympian at your home games is really special. You know, it's something that I can talk about until I'm grey and old, and to my grandkids. And it's just, every time I think back at it, we're lucky to have the games in our lifetimes, in our home sort of ground. So that's probably one of the biggest ones. Well, when I talk to children or pupils at schools, the biggest thing I tell them is to work hard and to dream big. For me, there's no substitute for hard work. That's one of my quotes from my coaches, and it stuck with me. You know, you can have all the talent in the world, unless you work for it and put the extra, you know, hours in, you're never going to be as good as you can be. And then to dream big, don't let anyone tell you can't do anything. You know, the sky's the limit, and it's up to you where you set your bar. So, I'll be here.
Thank you very much.
No worries.
Thank
Absolute
you.
pleasure.